What's up YouTube? Jeff back again from DopeTechDaily.com. Today I'm bringing you guys my 24-hour impressions on the all-new LG G6. Now first of all, huge shout out to LG. They sent out this early preview unit of the G6. It's the first time I've been able to get early access to a phone like this. Also a huge shout out to you guys, my subscribers, for liking the videos, commenting, subscribing, watching, doing everything you do. You made it possible for us to get an early look at this, and I really hope I can bring you guys some interesting size comparisons to other phones so you can see really how impressive the new 18:9 bezel-less display is on the G6, and also give you some preliminary impressions on things like performance, the software, etc. Now, of course, since it's a preview unit, I can't give final battery life review, performance, camera, but I will give some initial impressions. I'll also do a Q&A video later this weekend if you guys want to drop some questions in the comments, and I'll answer those in the Q&A video again. Nothing final, because I'll have a final review unit coming from LG once we get closer to the retail launch. Now, we don't know the full price and availability for the US carriers yet. Once I get that information, I'll post it over on my Twitter, keep you guys up to date. Also, just really quickly, I know my voice is a little bit messed up. I'm getting over a cold, but I wanted to bring this video to you guys as soon as possible, so just bear with me, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So the first thing you notice about the G6 is the new 18:9 display. You can see they've reduced the bezels on the tops, the sides. It looks very, very nice. It's easy to use, makes the phone small in terms of the footprint, but you still got that big 5.7-inch QHD display. It also makes up for having the on-screen buttons, because now, even though they're taking up some of the screen, you've got all this extra screen real estate in the extra tall 18:9 display. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that LG definitely had a departure in their design language from the G5 last year. If you guys remember with the G5 last year, I had quite a few build quality issues on a couple of the retail units that I purchased. Had issues with the paint chipping there on the back. I know it was primer, not paint, but I had issues with the primer chipping, all sorts of things like that. Had sort of jagged edges on the G5. Nothing like that on the G6. The build quality on this phone is just amazing. Nice, smooth, all-metal glass construction. The back feels great in the hand. You can see just very, very beautiful job. LG paid a lot of attention to detail. They really wanted to come back and give people a product that they could be proud of this year. You got USB Type-C, speaker on the bottom there. You've got those dual 13 megapixels standard and wide-angle lenses there for the camera on the back. And then you've also got, of course, this ultra-fast fingerprint scanner. Overall, I think LG did an amazing job with the build quality and also the new 18:9 display. The LCD IPS, of course, is not going to give you as quite saturated as colors as you get on the AMOLED from Samsung, but you do get good viewing angles, and of course I can give some final thoughts on that in my final review once I get that final unit. Now, one thing to note about the 18:9, which you're probably already aware of, is if you look at a video, for instance, on YouTube, you're going to notice that you're going to see some vertical bars. You can see right here, watching a YouTube video, you're going to see those vertical bars on the side. Now, that doesn't bother me whatsoever, to be honest with you, mainly because whenever I watch video on my iPad, because it's 4:3, I have bars at the top and the bottom. Really, it's less distracting to have them on the sides, in my opinion. Overall, not something that's a big deal for me, but it is something to be aware of. Overall, very impressive with the build quality. Usability is fantastic. You guys are going to see in the size comparisons in a minute just how good the footprint of this phone is, how small it is for a 5.7-inch display. The software hasn't changed a lot since last year, in my opinion anyway. I tried to find a lot of new things, but there really aren't very many new things. The phone is going to be running Android 7.0 right now. Again, this is not the final software. You do have Google Assistant. So if you hold down the button there on the home screen, you get Google Assistant. Google Assistant is on all Marshmallow and Nougat phones now. Google announced that at MWC. So that's not a selling point necessarily for the G6, but it is something extra that's built into the software now. Overall, the phone's been very, very snappy. Again, very impressive in terms of the software. I'm not a huge fan of not having the app drawer, but you can hold down the home screen. That's the default. Hold down the home screen. You can change it to a home and app drawer. If you do that, you'll actually notice that LG has a lot of wasted space. There's a huge gap between the app drawer and your top row of apps. That's, of course, something you could fix easily by installing, for instance, Action Launcher 3 or, of course, Nova Launcher, so no problem at all. And, of course, you can go back in here anytime you want into the home screen, and you can switch this back to the original default if you like the default, which is all the apps are on the main home screen. That's kind of like an Apple phone. Now, I've only had the phone for 24 hours, so obviously I don't want to give any in-depth battery life testing, of course. Also, this is a preview unit, so I can't say for sure the battery life is going to be the same. But if you guys do want to see the screen on time, it's right there. I installed all my apps, and I've used it on LTE pretty heavily. 2.5 hours, so probably going to get just over 3. That's a first charge cycle, though. That's pretty typical. I don't think that's really representative of the battery life, even on this preview unit. I'm sure it's going to settle down. I'll be using this for about a week, and then I'll check in and let you guys know how it goes. The next thing I want to talk about briefly really quick is the camera. So the camera on the LG G6, now you have the 13 megapixel sensor in both the wide angle and the standard camera. Now, of course, I only got to take a few shots because I've only had the phone 24 hours. I've been very impressed overall with the dynamic range on the photos. It's also been a very fast camera. One thing that LG does to make use of the extra 18:9 screen real estate is it puts a little photo reel here over to the side so you can see some of the photos. This photo is not particularly interesting. I have some mathematics, and I have seen a couple of closes of the camera when I was using it today, but again, since this is a preview unit, can't really say anything too negative about that. One other thing that you'll notice is there's this square camera mode right here, which you can go ahead and take a shot and you can preview it right here in this side panel. That also makes use of the 18:9 display. So a very interesting idea, and I'll definitely be testing the camera and of course the video capabilities on the preview unit, give you guys some more initial impressions in my follow-up Q&A video, and then of course the final impressions once I get the review unit. Overall, the Snapdragon 821 seems to be performing very, very well. I have no concerns about that, even though it's not the 835, which would have been great. Doesn't seem to be a problem. And of course, the 821 we know is a great chip that's been in a lot of other good phones this year. So those are my overall impressions. I love the build quality, love the usability of the phone, and the performance seems great so far. Of course, I got to load up all my apps. I've already started doing that. Load up even more, play some games. Let me know what other questions you guys have and drop them below, so when I do the Q&A video later this weekend, I can get into some of those questions. Now, the last thing I want to do is to end the video with some size comparisons. I think some of these are going to blow you guys' minds. So let me go ahead and show you a couple of comparisons. The first one, the Galaxy S7 Edge. This is a 5.5-inch phone. It was one of the most pocketable 5.5-inch phones of 2016. And look at this. The LG G6 5.7-inch phone is actually around the same height. It's actually a little bit shorter, as far as I can tell here, putting them side by side, in terms of height than the S7 Edge. And if you look at the width, they're pretty much identical in terms of their width. The S7 Edge, of course, is a little less thick because of the edge profile. You've got the Huawei Mate 9. The Mate 9, of course, 5.9-inch. Look how much bigger it is, though. This looks like a tablet, literally, next to the LG G6. And look how much thicker it is than the LG G6. Just an incredibly wide phone. And also the thickness profile from the side, you can see they're pretty similar overall. Here's another very impressive one that shows a lot about what you can do by reducing those bezels. Here's the Pixel XL. The Pixel XL, also 5.5-inch screen. As you guys can see right there, you've got yourself a very, very big difference between the LG G6, which has got the 5.7-inch screen with those tiny bezels, and the huge bezels on the Pixel. So you can see overall, reducing those bezels really gives you a very usable phone. Here's a comparison to last year, the LG G5. The LG G5 had quite a bit smaller screen, and if we put these side by side, you can see that the G6 actually doesn't really increase the footprint of the phone at all. The G6 does appear to be a little bit thicker from the side profile, but in terms of the width, of course, the G6 is taller, but it doesn't look to be as wide as the G5. And of course, again, I can't say enough about the fact that the build quality is so much better on the LG G6. This platinum color looks especially beautiful. The LG V20, so here's the LG V20. This is also a 5.7-inch phone from LG. Put those side by side. Of course, you've got the extra display at the top, the extra screen. It's just incredibly tall compared to the G6. And of course, you can also see the width of the V20 is appreciable compared to the G6. The iPhone 7 Plus, which is one of the biggest 5.5-inch phones there is. This is a pretty comical comparison. You can see the 5.5-inch iPhone 7 Plus is much taller than the 5.7-inch screen on the LG G6. It's a little bit thinner, and then look how much wider the iPhone 7 Plus is than the LG G6. I mean, literally, you can see the footprint reduction you've got there. And then perhaps the most comical comparison of all, here are two phones that have the same exact screen size, and look at the difference between them. This is the HTC U Ultra and the LG G6 side by side. They both got that nice, beautiful looking back. Both of them are very beautiful phones. 5.7-inch display. Let's put them side by side here and look at the height difference in the Ultra and the LG G6. And then look at the difference in the width. The width, just a huge difference. Holding the LG G6 in your hand or putting it in your pocket is a very different experience than the U Ultra. I've been using the U Ultra for the last week since I got it. And as soon as I switched over to the G6 today, I immediately felt a difference. My hand was not nearly as tired because on the U Ultra, I'm always reaching to the top because it's just such a huge phone. All right, so that's pretty much it for the size comparisons. If you guys have something in particular you want to know about the LG G6, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll try to answer it in my Q&A video. Please like and comment if you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can find me at dopetechdaily.com. Google+, Instagram, and Twitter. The link's in the description. I appreciate you guys checking out this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.